Quick disclaimer, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here should be considered financial advice. Always do your own research and understand the risks before investing.
Welcome back, everyone, to another Bitcoin update. So here we are going to be on the shorter time frame for today, just because the last couple of videos the larger time frame has remained the same, so I thought it would be a little bit more beneficial to go towards the shorter time frame. So recently, since this fall of 76,000, we have been talking about a 5-wave move down and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move down, in which now we could be starting a corrective second wave bounce, which could take place in a B, C to the upside, where all of this could just be an A wave, then we get a B wave and a C wave up before topping and heading lower for a larger degree 1, 2 setup, and then we can get a third wave to the downside. However, it is totally possible all of this could just be an A wave, B wave up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move up. I am keeping track of this trend line right here of higher lows and lower highs here, in which we could have a breakout either to the downside or towards the upside as well. As of right now, it kind of does seem like all this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we could get one more move and a 5th wave move up. Otherwise, this also does make a 5-wave move up and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move up, and now this could just be a micro 1, 2 setup to the downside where we get that third wave down. Now, we have been talking about for these two scenarios is our first indicator that we have indeed not topped and we are going for a higher high is a break above this high here at 76,000, which is what Bitcoin topped on before we got that 5-wave move down. And it would be nice to see a larger degree 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move up and a 3-wave move down to indicate something more bullish is indeed coming. Now, our indicator for this just being a bull trap and all of this is just a 1, 2 setup in which we get that third wave to the downside is our first indicator would be a break below this swing low, which is around 69,700. If we have a direction and we fall below this and break below 69,700, that would be our first indicator that we have topped for this corrective second wave bounce and that we could be starting to head lower as well for that. Now, that is the analysis part for Bitcoin. If we head over to the RSI, and what we'd be looking at here is we hit that overbought territory, which we have said multiple times. Usually when we hit overbought on the 4-hour territory, especially with the market conditions and bear flags that have been forming, it isn't too unreasonable or too crazy to say that there is usually a correction that follows afterwards. We've called this out multiple times whenever we hit overbought, and although it doesn't have to be a large correction like we have been having recently where it's a significant one, it could sometimes just be a smaller rally before or smaller corrective move before heading higher as well. That is also sometimes the case. But what we need to look at here is for the 4-hour is we formed that bullish divergence. We said it wasn't a guarantee, but it is definitely a good indicator that something or some sort of bullish rally, or not rally, sorry, but that selling pressure was easing and that buyers could take control and push the price up, which is exactly what we saw here. It seemed like Trump had a tweet out today with the market, so that could have definitely been a impact there, but it is definitely very important to say or to see that we had that bullish divergence and then this larger rally afterwards. So not super surprising to see. Now with the RSI being reset and back to mid levels, it wouldn't be super surprising if all this is just a 1, 2 setup and then we can get a third wave to the downside. Now, if we head over to the 1-hour, we did hit overbought and we saw a small rejection. We will have to wait and see how that plays out. Obviously, we have our levels break below that 69,700. That's our first indication that we are heading lower. Break above 76,000. That is our indicator that we are going higher. And our short term in which we could look at would be a break above this swing high at 71,800, which could also be another indicator that we could be going for something more bullish, but it always could just be forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move up if that indeed was not the 5 wave move up that we just saw. So if we do get one more high, it wouldn't be super bullish to say the least, just because it could just be forming this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move up, but it could be a very slight indication, but nothing that is very serious. Now, if we head over to the daily chart, we have started to see a very small sell-off, which was pretty close to our daily trend line that we were talking about on the RSI. It didn't exactly hit that number, but it got pretty near to it, and we were warning about that as well before we had this sell-off. So that wouldn't be super crazy to see that happen as well as some of these repeated patterns in the past as well. So on the daily, we are back to the neutral. We did have this very small downside push on the RSI as well as on the price, and now it kind of seems like we just kind of have to let time do its thing and wait in between for both of them. So if we head over to the liquidation exchange map, we can see our large clusters that we have been forming. So for the shorts, we have them between 71,000 to that 73,500 range, and a smaller cluster back here at 74,000 to that 76,000 range as well, which when we go to the heat map, we will see these two ranges being played out as well. And on the longs, we have now had more longs in the market than we do for shorts. And we do have a lot of smaller clusters over here as well. So it wouldn't be too surprising to see if we get a short-term pump upwards to liquidate some of these shorts between that 71 to that 73, 74,000 range as well before more longs can be built up, and then we can possibly go back to liquidate those as well. Over the next week, it wouldn't also be surprising to see this move happen here as well, with some sort of pump upwards towards this 71 to that 74,000 range, as it also makes sense on the 7-day as well. And on the daily, with markets being closed in the US and uncertainty with Iran, we do have these longs, so it wouldn't be surprising if we do see a dump towards the bottom as well. So both scenarios would kind of make sense. If we go to the heat maps, we can get a little bit more specific levels of what could be playing out. Like we kind of see here, it wouldn't be super surprising if we get one more push up to liquidate some of these late shorts before we can head lower to liquidate some of these longs. And on the 3-day chart, we see something that is somewhat similar to what we just saw for the 24-hour chart. We have that same setup of the larger upside liquidity at that 71 to 74,000 range, which we could definitely have a short-term pump to liquidate some of these shorts before heading lower to that 60,000 range. So it also makes sense to see that on there as well. And over the next week, which could be very well in fact for the trading week, is we do see also that same cluster there at 75,000, which we were talking about in the exchange map as well. So it wouldn't be surprising to see if we get some sort of push upwards in the short term and then have a push to the downside for possibly that 60,000 level. And if we hold support, we could maybe even have targeted this 75,000 range. So we kind of just have to let time do its thing for that. There isn't really too much else to look for than just the levels that we have been seeing. If we go to the 2-week chart as well, we can also see that level at 67,000 starting to show up as well as those late shorts building up between that 74 to 76,000 range as well. So that's pretty much it for the levels and for the analysis part. We have our levels of what we're looking for. If we break above this swing high at that 71,000 range, we could definitely see a push towards that upside liquidity around that 71 to 74,000 range in the shorter term, in which we could possibly find a dump to 67,000, in which we then could possibly target this 76,000 range and higher. So we kind of just have to let time do its thing. It's kind of all up in the air right now. What we can expect for short term is either just between those two levels at 69,700 and 71,700 as well. Whatever level we break above or break below to, that could very well be our first indicator for where price action could be doing or where it could be going. And like we've been talking about for the last few weeks, we have, sorry, not last few weeks, last few days, we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move down. So far, we've only had a 3-wave move up. Even if we get another high, I would still classify that as a 3-wave move. So it's a little bit more favored for the bearish case right now, where we just get a 1-2 set with the downside, where we could head to a larger main support area between that 61,000 to 65,000 range, which if you haven't seen some of our past videos, that would be this range in which we were talking about down here, which is just this range down here that has been tested a couple of times. So it could very well look something similar to this as a 1, 2, 3-wave move down, in which we could go on from here to possibly break above that swing high again to liquidate both longs and shorts with that very devastating move, which would be pretty crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much everything for this video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.